Hey guys, I just got home from church and I've been wanting to do a video this week and I haven't had a chance to do it. So I figured this would probably be a good time to do it. I've posted it a couple of times, but I don't know if people are reading it or not. I can't tell because it seems like not everybody sees my post anymore. But um, God has really been dealing with me on some things about. I've been in Second Chronicles a lot, but I've also been a lot this week, and it keeps getting brought up at church and stuff. I think there's some things there that we're missing, but um, one of the things that God keeps revealing to me over and over again is that we are slaves. We were set free from slavery by His death on the cross. We were set free from sin, but we have become slaves to the system, and that's the mark of the beast system. um, Anything to do with New World Order, he revealed to me back in September, Octoberish, that was the mark of the beast. Anything to do with the New World Order, and anything to do with the monetary system. Everything's ran by the Federal Reserve. Everything's ran by, including our food's controlled. Everything is controlled. They've even, if you know about the seed vault, they've taken all the seeds and they've locked them away in the vault where we don't even have access to true organic seeds anymore. So the thing is, we have to break away from the system. We have to live off the land, grow our own food, break away from the financial system, and figure out a way to do this on our own and start our own system. That's going to be the only freedom we're going to have. Because what happened was Jesus came and set us free from sin, but we have put ourselves back in slavery, just as it happened many times in the Bible during biblical times. I mean, it happened over and over again. And we have put ourselves back into slavery and bondage to the government. And that's one of the biggest problems right now of all, is that nobody's trusting God. So if they truly trusted God, they would be living off the land. They would be growing their own food. They would be doing stuff instead of depending on the money. The money has the mark of the beast on it. It has the Illuminati symbol. It has the pyramid. It has all those things on it. When you consider the right hand and the forehead, I mean, you guys, the right hand, I mean, we use a credit card every single day that has a chip in it. I'm sorry, my dog is playing. It never fails. It has a chip in it that we cannot buy or sell without that chip in our credit cards. We cannot, we're monitored on our phones. We're monitored on our credit cards. We're monitored with the banking system. We're monitored with everything. So, the forehead thing, I still keep going back to ISIS, because ISIS was formed by the Romans, and the Romans control the Federal Reserve. It's all connected. So when you think about it, I mean, we literally, I don't know. I'm just kind of giving you guys some heads up about what God's been talking to me about lately. And I just keep saying, how are we supposed to break away, God? And he says, don't you trust me? He says, I will supply all your needs. And that doesn't mean some, it means all of them. It says, seek me first, and all these things will be added. So there's so many, if you go back and you read scripture over and over again, it talks about slavery and bondage so much. And we have become slaves to the government, and that's the truth. They own us. The IRS, our taxes, we have to work. It says that man will have to work a whole day. It'll take a man's whole day wages to buy a loaf of bread. Does it not take that now? Seriously, my son sat and talked to me tonight at dinner, and he is working nonstop just to put food on the table. And it's become, we're slave drivers. I mean, we work ourselves to death to pay our taxes and put food on the table. And that's it. And I don't know. I think you guys really need to, I don't know about the forehead thing. I don't know. It said it could be on the right hand or the forehead, but it doesn't say both. But, we don't know 2,000 years ago. They just saw us using credit cards. Think about this. They saw us using credit cards. They saw the chip in our credit card. They saw 2,000 years ago, they're not going to know what these things were. So we seem to forget that. We seem to think that they wrote the Bible in modern day times, but they wrote it 2,000 years ago, even, and then some. They didn't know what some of these things were. So looking down to them, they were strange. I mean, if you have grapefruit size hail coming through the roof of your house, that looks pretty crazy to somebody 2,000 years ago. We're waiting on Jesus to just be standing right in front of us, and I think we would still deny him if he was. The Jews did, but my point is, we're waiting on us to be saved out of here. We're just gonna we're waiting. But the thing is, we're not giving God anything. We're not giving him anything back. He didn't ask for anything back. He asked for our hearts and our souls, but I think we're also in a time of discipline right now. Those consequences that we're facing right now are from our choices. We were guilty by association by living here. We don't deserve to be saved. We were no better than Sodom and Gomorrah. We're actually worse than Sodom and Gomorrah. And so even Tony Evans said it tonight, we laugh about Abraham negotiating with God about the righteous. We laugh and joke about it all the time, but he couldn't even find 10 righteous. And if he would have found 10 righteous, he would have spared the city. But it says in the end of days, there were none righteous. There were none. Zero. So, and Jesus had to break the seal because there were none found righteous enough to do it. So in God's eyes, looking down and seeing how we are so controlled by the money system, the monetary system, by the food, everything, we don't have the freedom we once had. We are just controlled by the system. And the mark of the beast is the system. It's all of it. It's all of it connected. Anything to do with new world order, anything to do with that is the mark of the beast system. And until we break away from that, we are living in habitual sin and disobedience. And that's what, I know you guys don't want to hear this. And we're living in times of sexual immorality and idolatry. The money system has become idolatry to us because we have to have it to survive. So if you think about it, here's what we need to really evaluate. It says, what is this? The road is narrow, the gate is narrow, or the gate is, I don't know the scripture 100%, but which one it is, because I read so many. But, it talks about few entering the kingdom of heaven. We need to understand, and we need to really sit and think about what few means and why. If all of these people are Christians and all these people are saved, then why do few enter heaven? Because I would think that's millions of people that are saved, right? We were saved the day God just decided to send his son to die for us instead of destroying the world again. That's when we were saved. But we were to, and I've said this before, that God has revealed this to me so many times and it still blows my mind, that Jesus had to die a brutal, ugly death and crucify his flesh to show us that we had to crucify our flesh to follow him. That if we were going to follow him, we had to leave the dead to bury the dead, and we had to crucify our flesh, meaning we can't give into anything of this world. And, that death on the cross was a brutal, painful, bloody death. Just as being a Christian and being a follower of Christ is a brutal, bloody, sacrificial death every day. It's not easy to follow Jesus. It's not. And it's there's days, the 10 years that I broke away from God was because I thought, this is ridiculous. I don't want to be persecuted every day of my life. I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. This is not worth it to me. But the thing is, over time, God has given me wisdom and knowledge to understand that there is nothing in this world that I want except to be with Jesus. And there is nothing in this world or that this world has to offer me except for, there's nothing that is worth losing my salvation for or not going to be with Jesus. So there's nothing worth me losing my crown for. And so, over time, I think that's just maturity and wisdom and just spending time with God and letting him show you that he has something so much better for you. But, you guys be a Berean and get in the Bible and just read and study and see what you think, and pray about this, because God has been revealing this to me for a long time. And it's not real popular to tell people, I don't know how, I don't have the answers. I don't have land. I don't have money. I don't have a home. I just live in an apartment. I'm a slave to the people who get my money. So there's, I don't know how we break away. I don't have a clue. He says to trust him. But if you think about it, I mean, he wants us to go to him and let him provide for us. He's our Father, and he wants us he's the living water and the bread of life, and we depend on man, and which takes us back to being of this world again. So we have to break away from this world, that we've become of this world. But it says we're supposed to live in it, but not be of it. So, when you become of the world, you've become part of the idolatry, part of the system, anything that we hold higher than God is idolatry, including our children. So God gives us these things. I mean, being a Christian and being a disciple or whatever is just it comes with great sacrifice. But when you think about the sacrifice that Christ made for us, it's nothing in comparison. So just think about some things that I've said, and I just want you guys to think about this. And I don't know, maybe we could start a compound or something, move out to the country and just all put our money together and start our own crops or whatever, and grow our own food. Because if all this stuff does go down and this EMP happened or whatever, the people that have the food, I mean, my friend Terrence said this the other day, the people who have the food, that grow their own food, they're going to be the ones that become rich all of a sudden, because they're going to have stuff that other people need, right? So, in God's eyes, what we call rich and wealthy isn't what God sees as rich and wealthy. And what the world sees as success, God does not see that as success, because those men have money and people have money and they have fancy cars and fancy houses. But the truth is, they should be giving it away. They should be giving it away and living sold out for Jesus 24/7. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe I've had the $1 million house. I've walked away from it because it wasn't Jesus. It wasn't about Jesus. And the more money we had, the more pride he got, and the more cocky he got, and the more he lost who he was. And I started to get pulled into that. And I said, oh no, I'm not going to do this, because I want God more than I want money. And I think at some point you have to make a decision in your life. Do you want God or do you want money? Because you can't have both. I'm sorry. I don't believe you can have both, because it clearly says that Jesus told them, you know what, sell everything, sell everything and give to the poor, and follow me, and leave the dead where they are, and sacrifice things to follow me. Show me that you love me. And we don't. Going to church on Sunday doesn't mean you love Jesus. I'm sorry. You have to live it and walk it every day. I don't do enough. Everybody knows. I mean, I just try to be compassionate and kind, and to me it's not enough. But everybody that calls themselves a Christian, you can help somebody here and you can help somebody there, but it's not going to get you to heaven. It's not going to earn you brownie points in heaven. There's a difference in saying, I love Jesus, and there's a difference in saying I live Jesus. So the question is, do you love him? Do you live Jesus? Because I don't see many people living like they love Jesus at all. And I don't know. I just want you guys to pray about this and think about it, and get back to me. Let me know what you're thinking, okay? Have a great night. Bye. God bless.